all right. Peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening? Then time 9 times 10 time 9 times 10 again. Let's go ahead and do what we came here to do, or get what we came here to do right quick. We got the Empress, the Huntress in the building from the West Coast, checking in with us again. We on part 2 right quick. And again, the best of the best and the greatest of the greatest energy. It's a mutual thing. We're sending out, to the people who are tuning in right quick.
Yes.
We love that right quick, and that look. Got a nice little car. Got a nice little mansion. For sure. Yep. So I'm with, just picking up, where you and we left off, because boy, it's a lot. That's why this is a part 2.
Yes, absolutely.
For a part 3,
and
so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is a topic that can be, you can dive really deep. I mean, one would think that you couldn't, but it's a lot to it, right? Because we're getting into the darker, deeper aspects of it, the underbelly, as I call it, right? And so I think, because I'm trying to remember, okay, so it was marriage and conflict on the last one, and this time it is, I think for the title, I think you said it's marriage, the end, or something like that.
Yeah, I just put the love, marriage, and conflict part 2.
Okay.
So I know specifically it was the one particular ritual that I asked you to, kind of prepare to help me out with, because we have to keep in mind that this particular scholarship was given to me by way of Sensei Robert Bell, who many know as Bobby Ill, which was my teacher, so it's very I don't want to say ironic, but almost just the same to have the matriarchal elements that were missing from, I don't want to say the grassroots conscious community, but just as a whole, because typically when we start naming various scholars, we're gonna hear a lot of males before we get to a Dr. Francis Cress Welsing,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Before we get to that part, it just is what it is. But the way he would teach, there were certain things on a daily basis that he always made sure to mention, no matter what. And no matter what, you were going to hear about this wedding ceremony that people participate in, from where the throwing of the rice comes from and the whole nine. Like, Bobby had your face like, what? Like, I actually did that, or people are actually doing this. And as the internet became and I'm gonna be honest, I want to say I never Googled this until maybe 4 years ago. And when I'm talking about Bobby Ill, I'm going back to the early 2000s, 2004, 2005, 2006, or whatnot. So when I finally Googled it, it just really blew my mind that there were so many well-kept references, and not just in one particular nationality or ethnicity of people who participated in this. But in other words, it wasn't just Romans. We'll just say it that way. And I was like, like, exactly. Are you serious? An entire kidnapping and so grape, a ritual is being perpetuated over and over again, especially, I want to say, especially by our people, because we the most ancient thing on the planet. So it's just a lot. It's a whole lot.
Absolutely. And
documented.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And so it's like, when you're talking about these things and you have, like, I call them the bros, they like to come in and offer all of this discourse. And so I think that because women are starting to, we're now bringing this information forward, but we're taking things even further than our predecessors, those that we learned from. And so what we're doing is we're like digging for more. We're going down that rabbit hole, as everyone says, right? And we're pulling up this information, but not only are we pulling up the information, we're receiving this information because, I know for me, I always say the Mother God is speaking to me because I know that my work that I'm doing here with women and what I'm teaching women and reaching out to women is divinely ordained. And so I receive information, and I always say that when I'm speaking and I'm expressing what I'm receiving and I'm getting all of this discourse, then I always say that, what you're doing is you're arguing with source because I'm source. And we all know, as far as like the consciousness and spiritual consciousness and stuff like that, we all know that a lot of the information you're not going to find in a book. A lot of the information you can't Google. This is why we receive the information. And then also, how else are people able to get information? How are people able to write books and do all these things? A lot of times the information is coming from source. It's coming from spirit, right? And so when you express information that is coming from that source, then it's like, oh, what are you talking about? That sounds crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. That sounds stupid and all this kind of stuff, right? And so I already knew going in, once I started discussing this, that I was going to receive a lot of flack from mainly men, specifically Black men, but I do receive flack from women as well. Because they are so attached to this idea of marriage in this construct, because it is under a patriarchal structure, and they're so attached to it that when I bring these things up, it's almost like they're wounded, and and it's like, well, women, part of that problem is because they are marrying for romance, right? And as long as you are marrying for romance, then it's okay as a woman for you to be lost in that delusion and all of that stuff. It's like that's where they want to keep women. They want to keep women in that delusional state, right? But when you have someone like me that's saying, no, marry for power and wealth, it's like, wait, what? Wait a second. You telling women to marry for power and wealth? You absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. That is what I tell women. Now, women gonna do whatever they want. But if you're gonna ask me what I think, what my views are, and how do I think that should be handled, that's how it should be handled. You marry for wealth and for power. And so when we look at marriage in those ancient times, this is what they did. Families got together and they married so they could continue on the lineage, the power, so they could continue to basically rule over their subjects. I mean, we see it in Game of Thrones. We see it. We dig into other history of, when we're getting into the dynasties of Kemet, and when we're getting into the European families and all of these things, people, both of those families were coming from very powerful elite families, and they got married so they could continue on their power structure, right? But then you get into romantic love, and then it starts to get to this thing where it's like, oh, we're in love, let's get married. Okay, neither one of you have any assets. You barely have money in accounts. You got bad credit. Like, what y'all doing? right? Or one person has a little bit better of a financial situation and the other person doesn't. And then you're merging that together. And it's like, do you understand what sort of an entanglement that is? That is an entanglement. It's not only happening in the physical world on that piece of paper that you're signing, but it's happening in the spiritual realm. It's quantum. And so these are things that I'm always talking about. And it's like, I really want women to hear, like, honestly, I could care less if men agree with what I'm saying or not. I already knew that once I started talking about that they were going to have nothing but discourse from me. So I don't really care about what they think, because they got their own shit that they need to work through. But I'm talking to women, right? Because women are the ones that are so hell bent on this, as I call it, this technology of marriage and marrying for romance. And so that veil needs to be removed. I don't know if you wanted to interject before I go into the other part that I wanted to talk about. So I don't know if you want to interject there.
At this
point, take a sip of some water.
I merely want to bring some updated or modern verification of what you're saying. Like, this was still going on when I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old, as far as my grandparents were upper middle class. You know, he's best friends. He's a reverend, and he's best friends with a real estate agent who was melanated and did very well for himself, right? As well as the neighbors across the street, right? Who were upper middle class and did very well for themselves, and all of their daughters had various degrees from the various universities or whatnot. So my grandparent paired me up with their grandson, who was born the same year as me, but a month prior. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was still taking place. You know, as far as which I'm sure you get into, as far as charting the babies to who they're compatible with as well. But first and foremost, you had to have some type of wealth. And if you had some type of wealth back then, you had some type of skill or profession or something that you mastered, right? Or some things that you mastered, right? Because the babies back then had the option. I'm not going to even say an option, because, but you know, to look up to the elders, because the elders actually taught them things,
right?
You know, and right now it seems what my brothers want to do is try to label this as new age. No.
Or feminists. We're feminists.
What cave did you fall asleep in? Stay away from the snow bunnies, please.
Right. And you know, I get called a feminist by the bros all the time. I hate men. I'm steering women in the wrong direction, and the masculine and the feminine, they balance each other and they need each other and all this stuff. And I'm not taking anything away from understanding the science of the masculine and the feminine energy merging. I get that. But we have to look at the fact that as a woman, and people don't like to hear this, you are XX. You are the blueprint. The melanated woman is the blueprint. She's balanced all by herself. When we see images of Ma'at, she's by herself. When we see Lady Justice holding the scales, she's by herself. I don't think people are thinking about that, right? And so by us already having that within us, I always say that if you're going to merge with a man, he is supposed to come in and enhance your life. He's not supposed to come in and pull from you, right? You're supposed to enhance. So this is what's not going on. A lot of the times the men are coming into your life and they're causing chaos and confusion, okay? And they're extracting and they're siphoning. So it's like, let's really think about where this thing came from. Let's dig a little deeper, and let's stop looking at it on the surface level. Like I just talked about yesterday, when I mentioned to you about the marital rape babies. Like I think that video went viral, I think, because the women were like, oh my God, how come we don't even think about that? I was like, yeah, nobody's talking about that. But of course it was the bros who had all of this discourse. And I said, so because I am bringing up a topic that nobody talks about, one dude said I work for the CIA or something like that. And I know in the comment on your Facebook post, he said I'm work for the CIA or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting. But if we look at our grandparents and our great grandparents, right? They used to have
not to cut your wisdom. Let me say this right quick, and I hope I don't make you lose your train of thought or anything.
Okay.
The CIA thing, right? Now, there are other things that I could grasp. I could reach at Angela Davis and things of that nature, but these people will even bring up the welfare thing, like the fathers were kicked out of the homes. And you mean to tell me, what could you do to get a mother to leave her baby? Right? So if you saying as a man, you allowed the corporate entity known as the federal government and their subsidiaries known as the states and the cities and the counties, you allowed them to force you out?
Right.
No, you're not making no mother is gonna leave her babies. So brothers, please stop using that excuse, because these ops that you have joined hip with, this conservative thing, is it as if the liberals aren't the cousins and the brothers and sisters of the conservatives? Like, we can really go on and on with this. Brothers, please stop bringing that up on social media, because it makes you look even more incompetent. For lack of better words for right now. These are the things that go through their minds when we're trying to put an end to the gender wars, the what I call the fake ass gender war. When we're trying to destroy all of the fake satire, racist information that you all are regurgitating. You want to label this as new age, when we're going back to any brother who is out here talking about they're Pan-African, or we never hear anybody say Pan-American. We hear indigenous, aboriginal, autochthonous Americans, Moors, and various tribes or clan names or whatnot. But you all know that this is we came from matriarchal societies.
Absolutely. That's
so you're saying that this stuff is new age? Like, what are we talking about? And it would be different if the sister was coming from an approach of some superiority complex or whatnot. As women, we're superior to you, and she's not even talking like that. So I just wanted to say that when you mentioned the CIA thing and a brother mentioned the CIA thing, they'll stretch a rubber band and start talking about welfare, and the women put the men out of the house again. You cannot separate a mother from her child. So as a father, there is no excuse. No, again, you're the provider. You're the one who's supposed to provide the security and things of that nature. If we're going to talk about yin and yang and balance.
Absolutely. I think that because that actually is another point I want to touch on, but I don't want to. Okay, so I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna backtrack and then I'm gonna touch on that, because I definitely want to mention about the welfare thing. But what I was saying, as far as like when we're looking at our grandparents and great grandparents and how they had so many children back then, and when I talk about that, it's like, don't talk about it, right? And so, like, I know of a family, local family here from where I grew up, and this woman had like 15 children. Okay, now who knows how many miscarriages she had in between pushing out 15 children? So that means she was always pregnant. Can you imagine how exhausting that can be for a woman? And so, and I also thought about how many times did she have to perform her wifely duties when all she wanted to do was go to sleep because she was fucking tired? They're not thinking about that. Like, let's really think about that. And but when they talk about, yeah, our grandparents were together for 50 years, and you know, I'm trying to take us back to that. Yeah, our grandmothers had no rights. They couldn't go get jobs. They couldn't buy a house. They couldn't get credit cards. They couldn't get bank loans. They couldn't do any of that unless they got the cosign from either their husbands or their fathers. So if you are in a situation like that where you don't have any rights, then yeah, what else you gonna do? Right? What else you gonna do but acquiesce? Right? So it's like, when I'm talking about this, I do not expect men to understand, because this is a woman's plight. And the only people who are really going to be able to help and support women through this is other women. Men are committed to misunderstanding what we truly go through. They're committed to misunderstanding it. And I don't even try to explain anything to them. I always say that as a man, if you have properly integrated your feminine energy, then maybe you can come to the table and then you can hear and grasp and understand what we're talking about. But until you do that, like, I'm not interested in what it is you have to say. I'm not interested in your opinion. I'm not interested in any of it. Just go back over there to the wherever they live with the red pill, and just go on back over there. But for us women folk, right, we're gonna do what needs to be done. And that starts with helping women to understand how powerful they are, helping them to understand that you are source, you carry the womb. No souls are going to get here except through you. Do you understand how powerful that is? And so those are the things that, you know, like I said, the only way that women are really going to be able to receive that and understand is if it's coming from other women. If it's coming from women who are the matriarchs of I consider myself a matriarch at this point, right? And so I have this wisdom and all of this that I want to share with women, and I'll even tell women younger than me. I say, hey, I'm your cautionary tale, right? Look at what I had to deal with. I don't want you to go through that. Right? I don't want you to be on the struggle bus. I don't want you to end up actually driving the struggle bus. I don't want that for you. Right? So when, you know, I lost my point. What was I talking about? Okay, so the grandmothers and the great grandmothers, yes. So, like I said, so when we start talking about that, it's so important that, you know, we pass this on to those young ladies that are coming under us, that are looking at us and looking up to us and wanting to, you know, grab that information. Like, I want my daughter, I consider her to be my first mentee, and she's only 19, but she's already getting it. And so, you know, I always say by the time she's like 25, 30 years old, forget about it. So, but I kind of want to switch back in real quick, because I don't want to forget what you said about the welfare thing. The fact that they love to bring up the Moynihan report is so funny to me, because they always stick with that part where in order for the women to receive this aid, that they had to show that the father was absent. Well, he was absent. She didn't have to force him to leave. He was already absent. And that's the part that they don't want to talk about. It's almost like they want to create this image in our heads to where they were there working every day and they were providing and they were doing all these wonderful husband things, right? And then the white daddy came in and kicked them out the house and said, hey, she needs more money, so you have to leave. It's almost like that's how they want to present it, right? But when you dive deep into the Moynihan report, you see that was all bullshit. They did it because these dudes weren't there. They weren't, right? And so there was this this video that came out, I think like in the 80s, and they were talking about this whole welfare system. And we all know that shit was a whole experiment. It was based on the Rat Utopia 25 experiment. And they created these projects and put all these black people in here. And all of these women, they were these young girls, they were having all these babies. They were like 15 years old, and they're pushing out like 5, 6 kids. And it's like, who's impregnating these girls? It was their uncles, you know, older dudes, cousins in the family. That's who they was having all these children with. So they needed aid. You 15 years old and you got 3 kids. Like, you need help. And so that's the part that they don't want to discuss. And so, you know, it's like, the more you dive deep into this, the more you're going to see how the so-called black man in the West really has a lot of work he needs to do. And I always say that they all suffer from a mother wound. They suffer from that mother wound. If you are a male child, in my own scientific theory or whatever, I think you automatically suffer from a mother wound. And so that has to be addressed early on. And so when I say that they suffer with a mother wound, they show it all the time when they come into your comment section. They come in my comment section and they're just spewing all this hate and all this vitriol. And I'm like, to me, it's I liken it to a little boy wanting mommy's attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me, right? I'm saying these things, and I'm going to say mean things to you because I need your attention, right? And so it's like, and I have a son, and I'm always concerned about, you know, how he's going to come up, what he's going to do, how is he going to show up in society, right? And I don't want him, honestly, I don't want him to show up the way a lot of these dudes show up. I'll just say that. So it is, I know that I have to provide things for him. He has to have certain services, certain supports, and all of these things, because, you know, it's like we have to have a vision, not only for our daughters, but we have to have a vision for our sons. We brought them here, they're here, right? And so we have to have a vision for them. We have to know, like, okay, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to look like for him. He needs to be prepared for this, and needs to be prepared for that. So it's like, you know, you hear this talk about, you know, feminists and we hate men and all this stuff, and I'm always like, I have a son. I can't hate men. I have wonderful men in my life, right? And then a lot of the information that I speak on about men's deplorable behavior is coming from what? A man. It's coming from my brother, right? So I'm talking to a man who has no vested interest. I mean, he has a vested interest in me just being able to achieve those things that I want, my aspirations, things like that. That's where he's coming from. He wants me to be good, right? So he has no reason to gas me up or tell me what I want to hear, as opposed to a man that, say, a man that you fucking, right? He's gonna gas you up and tell you what you want to hear. So, you know, when I'm speaking on these things, like I said, I talk to men, I observe men, I observe relationships, you know, and we know the history of our people here and what happened. And so it's like, to make it light, what we're talking about is some sort of like weird, like you said, how they call it new age or whatever. And it's like, this is like deep ancient information, y'all. It's just that you got to pull it out. So, and I say all the time, I'm not just, you know, pulling some shit out of my ass. This is like for real. This is information that I've read, if people that I've talked to, information, the things that I've received, right? So, yeah. You want to interject? I do want to get to that bride thing, because that's the thing right there. That right
exactly,
there,
and that's where I was going to segue
yes.
into. But I wanted to say the missing a portion of what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah.
Was rites of passage when I was talking about my grandparents and you know who I was supposed to marry. It already set up, but again, my grandparents passed, right? My grandmother, which it isn't even it's my grandma, but it's biologically my mother's biological mom passed when she was 3 years old. So her father married someone else. We just was put it that way, and he took my mother after her mother passed or whatever and raised her. So that's the grandmother that I knew. But she passed when I was around maybe 9 or 10. And my grandpa passed when I was like maybe 2 years old. Right? So things coming into fruition. But again, I just wanted to mention that, and I want to say it again to the audience. We missed many of us didn't go through rites of passage. That's not even a part as a Christians or Muslims or Hebrew Israelites. How often do you even hear that terminology being spoken on, or rites of passage? Yes. This is, you wouldn't be calling this information new age, but okay, let's go back into the wedding ceremony or ritual is actually kidnapping in great ritual, right? This is how Bobby, peace be upon him, how Bobby Ill would break it down to us. He would say, okay, the wedding, it's a great ritual and a kidnapping ritual, right? That they would do, being the, I guess I can say troglodytes or Neanderthals or something like that or whatnot. They would come down into the village at night while everybody was asleep, right? Because Bobby would say he would, well, I'll get to that. I'm just give you the story, right? So he would come and he would have his homeboy with him. That's your best man, right? While the village is asleep, and then kidnap a sister. You know, most times young in age. Right? Kidnap her and take her up under the moon and grape her. Bobby said that's where he got the honeymoon from. I just told you where he got the best man from, because he would have to bring his homeboy with him to watch his back. That's your best man. But Bobby said sometimes the village will wake up while this is taking place, and they would throw rocks at the cavemen. Right? He said that's where you get your thorn of rice from. Right? So we got the honeymoon, we got the best man, we got the thorn of the rocks, which is the thorn of the rice. And just that's the gist of it, of what I can remember. But he would say this to us almost every day. And by the time I'm gonna put this in there too, because I want you to go in. By the time class will be over with, right? There would be people literally asking, like Bobby would even go into, just as a short little snippet, he would go into Jesus being married, or Yahshua ben Yosef, or Yahshua bar Miriam, being married to Mary Magdalene, right? Because he's a rabbi, and when they said Jesus, where's the wine at the wedding? You know, him turning water into wine. No, a rabbi must be married, and the groom supplies the wine at any I don't want to say Jewish wedding, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's the Hebrew custom culture. You know what I'm saying? Provide wine or whatnot. And I'm mentioning that because by the time Bobby would get finished teaching, people would be like, well, if what you're saying is true, then who is God? You know what I'm saying? Like literally people would just ask him this question, and his answer was always your mother. You know exactly where you came from. You see what I'm saying? Your mother. You see? And this was coming again from a man. You see what I'm saying? So again, as I want people to really focus in on that, while you know, looking at us talking about this and saying feminists and all of this Susan B. Anthony shit, who we would never rock with. You see what I'm saying? Susan B. Anthony, who kicked out Ida B. Wells, like we're not rocking with that. That's not even what it is. So that's the jest. That's the throwing the rice is the throwing the rocks and the best man and all of that.
I mean, the story. I mean, the how deep you can go with this, because this is why I say when people don't really truly understand these systems that they're under, they don't understand the dark history that they come from. And we know that when the colonizers came over here, they brought a lot of their weird, crazy, patriarchal bullshit narratives and ideologies over here. And so over time, we started adopting it, of course, because we're a colonized people. So we start adopting these things, right? And over time, you know, you're just doing it. You're not even thinking about it. And so when you get into the bride and the great that takes place, that takes me into the darker aspects and the darker things surrounding the bride in movies and television. And so knowing that that is what was taking place, you know, during that wedding night for her, the honeymoon, what it does is it gives you an idea as to why the the bride, again, how she shows up in these movies and stories and stuff like that, and there's always a dark history to it. And then you pay attention, and you, like I said, you see it in movies and stuff like that. Like I was thinking about Kill Bill, the movie The Invitation, and Ready or Not. Those three, and those are all focused on the bride. And so what I always say is that we have gotten to a point where we are actually living out the connotative meanings of words, the spell casting, right? And so if we get into the etymology of the word marriage, and we get into the etymology of the word, I was telling you about marriage bonds, and you have marriage bonds, and then you have dowries and all of these things. And basically what it breaks down to is she's being bought. So you buy the bride, the groomsman's family pays for the bride, and what they're paying for is her labor, because they're compensating her family for the lost labor, right? And then when you bring her into the fold and under the groom's family, she has no rights, and it's a possibility she won't even be able to claim or, you know, have any sort of access to the groom's estate, right? So we know that that's not how things was operating over here. But, you know, when the colonizers come, they flipped everything, right? So now we're in that space where we're talking about marriage bonds, which talks about the bondsman, which is actually a groomsman or best man as well. And so the marriage bond was the groom pays a fee, right, in order to ensure that him and that bride actually get married. And that fee is there to basically ensure that. So to make sure there's no impediment against the marriage. So I said, what can an impediment be? Well, it could possibly be that maybe she's not a virgin. It could be any number of things, right? But the bottom line is, I paid this fee, so you have to marry me. So it takes us back into how things are now. Once you get married, you see how easy it is to get married, but it's really hard to get out. You know, you can go down to Vegas and be drunk as hell and go get married, right? But you're married to someone for, 5 or 6 years, and it's hell trying to get out. So they make it real easy to get into, and to me, that's a part of the illusion. That's the veil. Oh, come over here and get married, right? Right? And then you get in there, and you're like, damn, what did I just do? 5, 6 years down the line, you're like, I want out. Well, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take lawyers. It's all of these things that have to take place now because you want out. So when we get into the bride, right? That story that you were talking about, when they would come and kidnap her and they would rape her and all of these things, that is still it still connects to the symbolism in these movies. Now, there's not necessarily any grape taking place, but it's still a very dark and disturbing start for the bride. right? So we got Kill Bill. What happened in Kill Bill? She left. She didn't tell them she was pregnant. They came in and beat her ass, right? They shot her in the head. All this old crazy shit while she was still in her dress, right? Then we get to the invitation where she gets so enthralled with this dude, and she comes to find out they're like this family, royal, the Dracul family. And then we have the not Runaway Bride. That's another good one. Ready or Not, where this woman marries into this elite family, and she's not of that. She's not a blue blood, and so they have this ritual where she has to. They hunt her down, and then they kill her for a sacrifice. But the movie starts off, she's in her bridal gown. All of these movies, two of them start with she's in her gown, her bridal gown. And so there's so much surrounding the bride. There's something to that. I know Aleister Crowley talks about the chemical wedding. I can't really get too much into that right now because it's a little fuzzy, the details about it, because I studied that a long time ago. But this is that ritual is so it's so steeped in dark, occult, and violent things, right? And it's like, and we just be going around here just doing it, and it's like we don't even realize that we're living these spells out. We've taken, as we study etymology, and so we get to the denotative the denotative definition of the word, which is the mother, right? The origin. And then you get the connotative. Well, I always say that we're now living out the connotative definition of these words. And so when you look at bride, and we look at, like I said, the marriage bonds, or the, what is it called? I just had it. The bride, not the dowry, but the bride. Shoot, I just said it.
Yeah, for sure. If it's anything you want to put up on the screen, just let me know.
Okay. Because I'm actually looking. Oh, you know what though? This also takes me into, that's what I wanted to mention. So when we're still talking about the bride and we're talking about marriage, I came across this thing called morganatic. I think that's how I'm pronouncing it. And it goes along with the theme of what I was just talking about, that movie, The Invitation. This is a woman, Invitation, and also Ready or Not. Both of these women, they come from lower, as you would call, lower rank, and they're marrying into these blue blood families. And there's this thing called the morning. It's called the marriage of the morning, which takes us back to what you just was talking about, the kidnapping and the raping of the bride, right? So the next morning, the gift is, okay, I basically raped you, so now I'm going to marry you. So that's where we get the marriage of the morning. When I was reading that today, I was like, this is wild. And they also talked about the reason why they call it that is because if she's a woman of lower rank, her husband offers her his left hand in marriage, which means in this state, when we think about left hand, you know how people say, oh, she went left on me, meaning, oh, she tripped out, right? It said that he gives her his left hand in marriage instead of his right hand. And I was like, okay, and where do we wear wedding rings? On our left hands. So I thought that was really interesting in making those connections. If he's giving her his left hand in marriage, and what that meant was he's being a little shady. I mean, yeah, okay, I'll marry you, but you don't have access to anything, and and you're limited in what you can do. But your children, they can eventually, inherit whatever from my estate, but you don't get anything. You don't get to your rank. Your rank stays exactly where it is. So I thought that was really interesting, and how it connected to these movies that I was watching, right? Because like I said, in the Ready or Not, she's not a blue blood, right? And then they're chasing her around this mansion trying to kill her. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is wild. Right? So it definitely there's these darker aspects to this ritual that people just do not know about, and they just be doing it. And it's just, the whole concept is just really interesting to me. And this is why I say we live under the occult. Everything is magic. Everything is the occult. Everything is. So everything that you do is a ritual. Right? So.
For me, it all starts with the fact that, you know, if you like me and you old, you know what I'm saying? Like, and really go back. The first time I ever heard someone break down the fact that Jesus or Yahshua, Bar Miriam, Yahshua, Ben Yusuf, I always say it this way.
Yes.
It's because of the school of the thought that I come from.
Yeah.
Was mentioned as he was mentioned as the morning star, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the Helios Biblios, so for some of you, the Holy Bible, the KJV, Holy Bible, right?
Yeah.
But within that Bible, Lucifer is mentioned as the morning star as well, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I was taught by, again, Bobby Eel, is the fact that Venus, see, some of you, when I say Venus, you're going to think about the planet or that light of existence that they can pick up on a telescope or whatnot in NASA's technology, right?
Yeah.
But what comes to mind is the oldest relic that you can find that is supposed to be of a god is Venus, Mother Venus, right?
Yes.
So this
Absolutely.
is how it was conveyed to me. Again, you're talking about one entity being mentioned as the morning star and another entity being mentioned as the morning star.
Right.
The original, which predates it by over 10,000 years, is that of the Great Mother.
That's right. That's right.
So the fact that you can verify that the divinity of the mothers was stolen, then it should be easy for you to comprehend the fact that, or why we have these monotheistic, patriarchal schools of thoughts where you have a sky daddy but no sky mother.
Right.
That's very homo in nature.
Oh,
so when we have these beings and, you know, excuse my language, but bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, and they're up under up under one another all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it gives way to, again, you're talking about something that predates this particular paradigm that y'all are in by over 10,000 years.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Absolutely.
And what y'all say is the word.
Yeah.
I just bring you the word. I'm not as good as I used to be back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I quote the chapter, the verse in the book, within the 66 books of the King James Bible or whatnot. But I just wanted to touch on that because it's like, bro, do you not realize why women, especially what we're talking about, melanated women, are in a predicament? You see what I'm saying? To where they talk about the DE, you want to talk about modern things, the DEI hires. You see what I'm saying? How disrespectful it is for you to call Ketanji Jackson, who I'm not on the team of a Democrat or a liberal. That's, to me, that's the equivalent of the House or field Negro. And I'm not a House or field Negro. So I'm not a conservative or a liberal. But these conservatives that are predominantly men have linked up with are saying that Ketanji Jackson is a DEI hire. Understanding the fact that when you go over the other Supreme Court justices, her resume smacks the shit out of all of their resumes. Google what I say when I speak. Because I'm speaking facts. I'm not again, this entire channel is set up to eliminate the satire information as well as eliminate what I call fake ass gender wars. You play
Right.
your part, let me play mine.
Right.
Understand?
Right.
Understand that most of these brothers who, for an example, I'll say followed Kevin Samuels and the women this and my chest and all of that.
Yeah.
Do you realize the fact that as one man, you haven't even interacted with more than 1 or 2% of all the unmarried melanated women in North America? So this opinion that you have formed, it's false.
Yeah.
This sister is talking about are things that you can statistically measure.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
This is not I follow this individual who is into hating men, or I follow this individual who is into hating women. No, we're trying to deal with the facts so that we can provide the proper remedy and recourse to make the changes that we need to make.
Absolutely. I think that it comes down to, it's like people, I always say that people claim that they want the truth, right? They want to know what's really going on, but in order for you to be able to get the truth, you have to accept that the truth is not cute. It's not cupcakes and rainbows. The truth is not to stroke your ego. So you're not going to like the things that are being said. And so when we start digging deep into this and we're called feminists, or you hate men, and it's like, well, I don't hate men. First of all, I don't hate men. That's crazy. But what I understand is, because things have been so hidden from us, and we've all just been given surface level just to keep everything going. When you start diving deep, that's when things start getting ugly, and people don't like for the mirror to be held up to them. So when men hear us discussing these things, it's like I said before, it's like they're wounded, and it's like nobody's trying to wound you. This is what it is. Like you can't, you want to come into women's spaces where women are talking about their experiences, and the first thing you want to say is, who hurt you? We've all been hurt. We've all been in a relationship where we got burned. Okay. And what that did was it taught us a lesson. And those of us who really did the work on ourselves, we were able to see, okay, that's why I had that relationship. This was the lesson. That's the reason why, this particular person came into my life, and this is why I had this experience. That's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, you will get hurt, but what's the lesson? And so when we start bringing things up to the surface, digging it out and pulling it up to the surface, I mean, people are just not going to like it. And when a person doesn't want to hear the truth, the first thing they want to do is what? They want to fight with you about it. They want to be in some sort of discourse, conflict and stuff with you, instead of just saying, damn, why did that trigger me? Why was I so affected by that? When she said that, it made me feel some kind of way. Why? Right? This is what's not being done. Instead, it's just like, you hear something you don't like, it doesn't sit right with you, it triggers you, and so all you want to do is you want to fight. And it's like, if you really, really want the truth is it's usually ugly, and it's not here to stroke your ego. And so it's like, you can either take that information and go and source it and whatever it is you have to do and get to a place of acceptance, or you don't have to accept it at all. I mean, you can walk around and be mad and angry at the world all you want to, but that doesn't change that the information that I said makes sense, it's true, and it made you feel some kind of way. So, it just, you do with it what you will. But to try and silence me, or to, name calling and all this kind of stuff that they like to do, it's like, look, I already knew that this was going to happen. I already knew that y'all was going to come into my comment section and, having all your, spewing all your insults and all that. I already knew that was going to happen. So I'm not, it doesn't bother me. You're not getting ready to try to get me on some like humiliation ritual, because that's what it is. They have these humiliation kink, and so they want to come in there and try to humiliate you and then silence you. And I don't participate in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, by way of, excuse me, we say, usually if I say fraternal orders, we start talking about I would start speaking about the fraternal order of the police department, however you say that, but the frats, the various Masonic, I don't want to say organizations or lodges, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Right. And the biggest secret is that your grandmaster is trying to play grandmother. You know, you look at the aprons, he got all the aprons. Do you really see the math within it? So when I say that divinity, I hope I'm not getting an echo to the viewers. Y'all let me know how I sound, because I'm getting an additional sound on my end. Like almost static or something. Do I need to turn the speaker around? But yeah, they got the little apron, someone and many have tried to convince me that, when they put the blindfold on the man and make him drink what's in the cup, y'all know what's supposed to be in the cup, right?
Yeah.
So again, you're taking what's supposed to be in the cup is supposedly semen. Now this, keep in mind, this is being taught to me from a male. No woman showed me these things.
Right.
Understand? So as a man, am I supposed to respect the fact that someone, no matter if they're a multimillionaire or they're upper middle class, melanated Detroit man, which is these are my experience, so I have to keep playing back to who would let someone blindfold them who's not your wife. Second point, let a male blindfold you and have you drink something out of a cup? Do we not know what Mickeys are? When I was growing up, you called out a Mickey, someone dropped something in your drink. But of all, you're telling me that what he put in the drink is semen.
Yeah.
Understand that. And with that being said and known by many, the recruitment continues.
Yeah. Oh,
the bragging about you being a part of some particular Masonic order continues. The bragging about you being a part of a frat and getting your ass whipped willingly by another man continues. So don't come to me talking about what black women don't do and successful black women marry white men. You are sounding stupid.
Yeah.
You can go and look directly at the statistics and find out who the traitor is in between the two of us when it comes to interracial marriage, and it's not the melanated woman.
Nope. Not at all. I mean, the statistics, like you said, I mean, come on. We already know. Right? We already know. Not even looking at the statistics, we already know, because we know even just from what we've seen, what we've experienced. But the statistics do show. And so, yeah, I mean, that's why I've been told that, I have issues with so-called black men, and I just, to me, it's like, I just don't, I don't buy into the worshiping of them and putting them up on this pedestal, because I think that we've been doing that for too long. And I think it's time for them to get off of mama's titty and really go do that work as men. Let women do what we're going to do, and y'all go do what y'all got to do. And like you said, we know that this was a matriarchal structure when them colonizers started coming over here. We already know that. It's been, we already know. And so this mindset that they have, this patriarchal mindset, y'all, they talk so much shit about white men, but it's like y'all adopt their same mindset. You are very much invested in the patriarchal structure because you don't have any power in the marketplace. So instead, you want to dominate and control your women. So if we're looking at the patriarchal structure, it's a hierarchy. Men are in hierarchies. So you're supposed to be dominating other men. You don't come home and dominate your wife. Right?
Can you please repeat that line? Can you please repeat that line?
So the patriarchal structure is a hierarchy, right? Men dwell and deal in hierarchical structures, right? So what they are supposed to be doing is dominating other men. They're supposed to be in the marketplace. When I say dominating other men, I'm talking about, what do white men do? They acquire companies, these hostile takeovers of corporations, and they're dominating in on Wall Street, doing all I call it dominating the marketplace. But because so-called black men aren't within that power structure, they want to take that same mindset and dominate their women. So they want to place women into a hierarchical structure. Women are we're a community. We're a communal structure.
I need that bomb. Like, I got the machine that does the sound effects, but
yeah,
I don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do it, but that needs a bomb. Dominating your woman, leading your woman. No, you supposed to be leading these pale faces who you helped get out of the age of darkness.
There it is.
They humped on their women and made those children heirs to our empire or motherfucking overall estate. Like, and you want to point at your women.
Right.
You gonna join them and go against your woman? Listen to what the sister is saying. This is 100. There's no hate for our men here.
Not at all. Like I said, I have wonderful men in my life. Yeah.
None of us, you know what I'm saying, are talking no LBTUQ2UP2. So why would you come with this hate men? Both of us are mothers.
Yep. Mothers to sons.
Like, and no comprende.
Yep.
You know, you must be sniffing the cocaine. I don't, you know, comprehension skills are low.
Right.
You know, with a certain percentage. I'll just say, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to discourage anybody from at least attempting to listen.
Yeah.
Listen. We're supposed to learn from one another, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
There's no growth if we can't learn from one another. Does that mean that you have met your capacity of what you're going to learn in your lifetime? If we're not learning from one another. So this is why I open this platform for those who know their shit. For real scholarship, not for that satire information, not for that QAnon, not for that calling your own women. Michelle Obama's a man. Venus the Serena were born male. Don't you know that's racist satire?
Yeah, it is.
Your IQ, you understand? We have the ability to reach many.
Yeah.
But to keep dealing with mentally unstable people,
Right.
you understand, is burning up energy that we don't need to burn up. So
Absolutely.
again, we're gonna run it up over here
Absolutely.
on YouTube and other platforms outside
Yeah.
of a TikTok. I know everybody want to shoot me when I say that because I don't really mess with TikTok. I don't know anything about it, and I know what Facebook does.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know this is the largest platform is YouTube. You can TikTok your
Oh
heart out.
yeah. Oh yeah.
This is the largest platform right here.
Right. Yeah. YouTube is
This
it.
ain't
Yeah.
about
Absolutely.
check.
Yeah.
Understand. Although we are monetized, go on and hit the super chat or whatever. Appreciate the comments. We gonna put the sister PayPal or Cash App or whatever she has
Oh,
in the
okay.
thread.
Cool.
And yes, like I needed sound effects for, the line I kept asking you to repeat, please.
Oh, you want me to say it again? Oh. Oh, I think you wanted me to say it again. Oh, okay. You there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, no. I'm
Oh,
still here. We spoke
oh, okay.
about, the aggression
Yeah.
from the men towards the women,
Yeah.
the melanated women, instead of that aggression being taken
Yep.
toward the pale invader.
Yeah.
You call them Slavs, you say Slav slave, they the
Yeah.
Slav slave.
Yep.
Understand? Why you bringing
Yep.
that shit home to the Empress?
Exactly. Exactly. And that is, I mean, really, that's the issue. That's where it lies. It because if we look at, I always talk about, since I talk about the patriarchal structure is a hierarchical structure, right? And we're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, hierarchy. So most of the so-called black men and women in America, whatever, the melanated black men and women in America, they're in the first two tiers of that structure. But the so-called black woman is at the very bottom, but she is the foundation, right? So he can't even get to even push up to where he is unless he's standing on her. And then you have the white woman, and then you have the white man at the top of the pyramid, right? So you have this white man at the top, and you got this black woman at the bottom, right? Those are the two that are holding it up. And so we know what the so-called white man and all of that, the colonizer and all of the shit that they've done collectively. But when we're just looking at it from that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we're seeing how that structure is being held up. And so if black women are the foundation, we're at the very bottom, that foundation holding that up, then it's like, move out our way. Move the fuck out the way. Because as CM Bay says, right, the melanated, kinky-haired woman, she is the widow. It's her and her alone. And this is what I tell women all the time. And this is another thing that's probably a hard pill to swallow, but that's what it is. I mean, it literally does start with us. We're the blueprint. Everybody comes from us. So when we talk about the divinity, right, you can't get here except through us. Like, like, honestly, it's real easy to just look at that. Oh, well, duh, yeah, you have to come through a woman. But do you really understand what that means? This whole thing is about the womb. And you hear people talk about make America great again, make this great again. Nothing can be great again unless we get to the underbelly of this, and that is the restoring of the woman's work, the womb. That's where it starts. She is source. So you're not going to make anything great again until that's great. As long as the one who carries the womb, who brings the souls here, as long as she is insane and out of her mind, nothing is going to be great. Period. So let's deal with that. No one wants to deal with that. Because when you start getting into that, then what you're doing is you're actually telling women how fucking powerful they really are. And nobody wants us to know this. There's so much going on with women. If we just get into our chromosomes, it's the XX, it's a genetic code to life and creation. That mitochondria DNA holds everything. That is the life source. That needs to be restored. That's what needs to be discussed. That's what needs to be great again, or nothing else happens. Everything is about the womb. We live in a cosmic womb. Like, it's people are not really getting that. I don't think they're getting it. So, yeah.
Yeah. We definitely gonna have to roll in a part 3. Like, and I intentionally wanted to stop this at an hour.
Okay.
Just to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so much more to be unveiled.
Oh
right?
My gosh. This is womb work,
it's so
so
much
it is
more.
a lot.
This is not gonna be, this. We might get up to part 99. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, because
yeah,
certain things
like
that
I said, this is womb
we
work.
haven't even discussed. Look, we haven't even discussed marriage licenses and marriage certificates. Like, those permission slips. You have
Right.
permission to go into a union with, the one that you choose to make balance.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like to, every once in a while, I like to say that I am all for a beautiful, cohesive relationship between a man and a woman, where each person respects each other as an autonomous being. One, they come together and they enhance. They're not extracting and constantly pulling from the other. Those are the relationships and the marriages that I would love to see more of. But again, everything still starts with the womb. This is still womb's work. Everything is womb work, because nobody would be here if there were no wombs. Right? So that's always the foundation. That's source. And when you're taking that position of, well, I have to dominate and control her simply because she's a woman, we have to pull that apart. Because I we were talking about the word submissive. That was not even gender specific until the Greeks and the Romans got a hold of it. And you know how that this whole thing, this Western culture, is rooted in that, based on that. That word in and of itself had nothing to do with a gender. So it's like, you got to really dive deep into things. And like I said, you have to extract the truth. You got to dive deep. It's like everybody just walking around here, just doing things on the surface level. And it's like, oh, that's just what it is. Oh, women are just supposed to be submissive. Like, who told you that? And specifically, the melanated woman, I don't know where y'all got that from. She ain't never been submissive. Never. She's mama. She's the blueprint. Who is she being submissive to? That shit is an illusion. So, anyway. Look, we go on and on. All right. So.
For sure. I mean, these are the things that I hate, that we have to be the ones to even speak on it, right? Because as seasoned women, we know that no different than you're gonna respect it a little bit more and have a little bit more, you're gonna believe what's being said when it comes from mother. Yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, the brothers is like, for them to have to hear this from us after we still have a minister, Louis Farrakhan, out here, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He had various elders and influencers who are males that can speak to the men.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that they're able to get certain information, and this certain information has never led back to one thing that you didn't touch on, which I'm sure you'll touch on more when we do this again, is this XX chromosome.
Oh yes, that's my jam.
Right?
We'll definitely get into
And
it. Yeah.
yeah, we're not gonna go too far into it, but I know you enough to know that you don't have to degrade or put somebody or the XY chromosome as being degenerate and things like this and that. Like the average person will just say, well, women are the XX chromosome and the men are XY because their Y chromosome is chopped off. So they don't function properly on this particular realm. Like, I know it's going to go way deeper than that.
Yeah, it does. It
But
does.
again, when we start talking about excess chromosome, especially within the so-called conscious community, that's what they'll pick at. Oh, you're saying
Oh
that the
yeah.
Y chromosome makes them a degenerate and blah, blah, blah. No. Nobody over here who I deal with has to keep picking at that aspect. Not
Right.
saying there's no verification of that particular point of contention.
Yeah,
But
there
what I'm
are
saying
things.
to
Yeah.
you
But yeah.
is we way beyond that over
Yeah.
here. It goes beyond the Y chromosome being not fully developed or broken or chopped off. So it didn't get to be an XX like the XX. It's an XY. Like it's deeper than that. So make sure y'all stay tuned in to this particular series
Yeah, we can
because we're
definitely get
gonna
into that. Yeah, I mean, because for me, when I'm studying, I study biology and neurology, right? And when I study these things, and I'm seeing what I'm seeing. It's not, like you said, it's not about trying to make, because that's crazy, like trying to make men feel bad about themselves because they are XY. Like, but anyway, yeah, we can get way deeper into this. It'll definitely have to be a part 3 on that, because I would love to get more into that, because there are aspects of that when we're talking about that XX and the XY. So there are certain things that come along with that definitely should be addressed, because we can get into the genetics, and we can get into how many genetics there are in both. I mean, it's like a whole thing. So, but what it does is it takes us right back to who we know the original, who the original woman, the 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 goddess, the god, she's God. So I mean, and it's not a thing where we're saying that so we can make men feel bad. No, it's just that if we know that this patriarchal structure is harming to men, to women and men, and we know that things were flipped, we know that it went from being goddess, or I won't even say goddess, God, but okay, let's just say goddess. So if we know it went from goddess to God, right? We know that things were flipped. We know that this system is inverted. If we know that it was a matriarchal first, if we know that women birth through parthenogenesis, that that's that's what was happening, and we know it because we can see it in the animal kingdom. And so it's definitely something to be discussed, but at the same time, the reason why women need to know this is because, to me, it's like it helps them to truly understand their power and how powerful they are and who and what they really are. Right? When we say this is a cosmic womb, we talk about the matrix. Matrix breaks down to mater, which is mother. Like, come on. Everything is about the womb. So those things need to be addressed. And like I said, and not in a way to like, oh, I'm going to tell men or they're just saying shit because they're XY chromosome, right? No, because we birthed you. We brought you here. So you come from us. So it's like, I would dare look at my son as being like, oh, he's XY. So he came from me. I birthed him. I brought him here. Right? My womb carried him and nourished him and did all of these things. I did that. So why would I see him as being some, like, you got some women out here who are actually calling them parasites. I would never. Humans have a parasitic nature, period. Now, are there some men who can be very parasitic towards women? Absolutely, because they do siphon that energy. But I also say that if men really understood their own energy as being they're electric, women are magnetic. Women are constantly, we're magnetizing, so we're attracting, we're absorbing. So if you're in close quarters with a man, he's electric, you're always going to be receiving what he's emanating. So if he's on some survival mode, bullshit, paranoid, the white man this, white man that, and this and that, and it's the struggle and blah, blah, you're going to constantly be absorbing that. And that's going to pull on your energy as the woman, because as a feminine, you are supposed to expand. You can't expand. We're about expansion. So if you're giving me all of that, I am going to expand it. I'm going to expand what you're giving me. So if you're giving me survival and being broke and paranoid and a white man this and a white man that, I'm going to expand that by way of the children. So now our children are going to carry on those
not
same.
To cut your wisdom, because I really don't want to. When we start talking about, and this how you separate your scholars from your scammers, right? When we start talking about negative and positive, first of all, one is a push and one is a pull, right? People think when you say, or when we dealing with the terms negative and positive, like, I heard somebody who I would have to say is my brother, no matter what crazy stuff he may say or don't say. But when there were people doing lectures that were really going at women and people not even being able to comprehend what was going on, it was the masculine is, the alkaline, and the feminine is the acidic. Not understanding, again, we're talking about people who don't understand negative and positive. Again, one is a pull, one is a push.
Right.
Do you not comprehend the fact that they need each other? But if they need each other to be, if you're not a minor, right, you're an adult, so you're supposed to be functioning on all of your apps.
Yeah.
Not some of your apps, but all of them when necessary, as well as giving them all rest when necessary. So with that being said, I don't know, are some of these people just not eating their Wheaties? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's my views on it is, it's men and women, right? If you come together, like I said before, on the, like, okay, like I always say, it should be equity in relationships, not equal. We can't be equal to each other. Because we're not the same. But I look at equity, right? And if I already have myself together and I'm doing these things for myself, then if you're going to come into my life as a man, you are to enhance it. You enhance, and then what I do is I take it and I expand. So that's what is supposed to be taking place. Not you coming in and just pulling from me. And then they say, oh, well, we need each other. No, when we say that, they take that as, I need to pull from you. You're a resource. You have a womb. You have all these things. So I need to just pull from you. And then women are saying, oh, well, he's a man. He's a laborer. I need him to go out and work every single day so I can live the soft life. right? So now we got both people pulling from each other under the guise of need, right? And so to me, when we say need, that denotes lack. I don't want to come to you lacking. I want to come to you where my basic needs and stuff are already being met, because I don't want to come to you in survival mode. I want us to come together fully and whole. And this is the other thing that I have a problem with when people say that, oh, you complete me. No, I'm already complete. You are already complete. And then we come together and we build. I'm expansion because I'm the feminine. So we come together and we do that together. It's not based on I'm lacking in all of these things, so let me attach to you, right? And this is what most relationships and marriages are rooted in. It's very codependent. And so if we don't get, like I said, and we don't get into that, this is still womb work. This is woman's work. That's what needs to be done first. You can't solve any of these issues unless that's done first, unless that's addressed. And it can't be addressed just by, banning abortion and, banning birth control and all that. Like, that's surface level shit. So that's not really doing womb work. So, yeah. So those are my, just my thoughts on that.
Well, that's 100,000. You see, we're not gonna hold the people. We're gonna do this again for sure, because this one was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have memes to match. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or slides. I'm over here doing the PowerPoint presentation and things like this and that. So yeah, definitely. But
for sure.
I want to go back to where we started, and then we gonna piece up out this piece.
Okay.
Where we at? Let me put it back on the screen right quick. I was showing, while you were giving a great presentation.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, this is from. I don't even know who.
I read that.
Yeah, I don't even know who this is, but again, hundreds of various articles and websites and things like that came up when I put this topic into Google earlier today, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about the best man being the, his helper and partaking in this crime, right? You see it here, right? The best man was considered skilled as the best swordsman and helped forcibly kidnap the bride from her home with his entourage. If she or her family didn't approve of the marriage, the best man and his crew would have, who were often heavily armed. You understand? So people are perpetuating these rituals, and
absolutely,
the honeymoon. We talked about the honeymoon. The honeymoon is an extension of the ritualistic abduction.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, these aren't satire news sites, right? These are things that are provided within all type of, not just folk literature. You understand? Like, actual nations or tribes or clans, if you will, of various certain peoples. You understand? Who again, we start using words like Cretan, and I'm gonna say this out the way. The word Cretan, people look at and they were like, okay, it's synonymous with the word Christian. These were the people who lacked iodine and were retarded and all of this, right? But let's examine the lack of iodine. Let's look at that for a moment, right?
Yeah.
As a woman who is carrying a child in her womb, you cannot lack a certain amount of salt in your body.
Yeah.
So when you see over here, even over here in the 1800s and 1700s, you see the melanated woman being forced, some would say being allowed to breastfeed the Eurasian or European or pale-faced baby.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I know.
the people who are up under a subjugation, however you say that shit, right? Who are being ransomed and kidnapped and so on and so forth. You allow the individual who you say is subhuman to breastfeed your child?
Exactly.
Let's think about that.
What's that? Yeah, I used to always ponder on that
Their
too.
women weren't able to carry these babies.
Yeah.
Understand? Which is why they snuck out and kidnapped an indigenous woman or Aboriginal or autochthonous woman in order to create a legacy of heirs and descendants.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Like, let's be realistic about the situation and quit playing.
Right.
Y'all are playing. And all of your feelings, you're always talking about, oh, women are so emotional. And that's not logical. Men are logical and women are emotional. What?
Oh my God.
I'm supposed to be emotional, so we're responding. I admit to being emotional. So I'm responding to the war that the portion of it that you forced me to have to stand up and fight.
Right.
So when you see women getting smacked, you're supposed to come in and save the day.
Yeah.
So when your women step up, the first thing that you're supposed to be thinking is, I'm supposed to come in and save the day because my women shouldn't have to step up. Not aiming at your women.
Right.
Your response is to aim at your women instead of I'm seeing my women stand up and defend themselves. Let me stand up and defend them.
Yep.
This is why these other nations don't respect y'all. I'm just gonna say what it is.
Oh,
I'm very Dey-Twah. I'm very Detroit. So I'm gonna say what it is. I understand that there aren't men available to say it. Peace be upon him. If Bobby Ill was here, he would be online just for me to say it to you.
That's right. A lot of them don't want to say it. That's
Women don't have this fear no more. So when she's letting it go, you're supposed to be stepping in, not stepping against her, not stepping in and riding Trump jock. Donald J. Trump, the guy that said grab her by the pussy.
Right.
Did he not say grab him by the pussy?
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be able to respect you when this is what you're joined in with.
Yeah.
You said it's for financial gain, for Bitcoin and all of this and that and the third, or whatever what do you call it? Bitcoin's kind of money.
Yeah.
But you say your black woman sold you out for money for the welfare, but you selling us out for money for the cryptocurrency and all this other lame ass excuses that y'all doing. I'm done. I'm sorry, sis. I'm done. I just gotta say what it is. Because if I don't, they gonna keep playing. And this ain't a game of checkers. This ain't a game of checkers.
It's chess. Yep. And that's the thing. They'll know that you pawns being moved around on a chessboard, and I tell women this all the time. I tell them all the time, you pawn, you're that's why you gotta understand power structure and power dynamics. But yeah, that's the problem. And you know, it's like the issue, it goes so far deep, right? I would even venture to say that this stuff between us and our men it took place even before, the slavery and colonization and all that. I would venture to say that it had been going on already. So it's not like some new shit. And that's why when they try to blame slavery, I'm like, nah, this was going on before that. That's y'all's scapegoat, but it was going on before that. So, I mean, we can even just get into, I was even questioning, I remember I used to say, well, when the Moors was all up in Europe, right, creating all these mulatto children, where was the women? Where was mama? Where's she at? Why her sons is all up in Europe and Spain and Italy and all of these places, right? Creating all these mulatto children.
what they
So
call
it's like,
Johannes Morris. The
yeah,
reason why you have, well, allegedly the reason why you have these Italian Sicilian breeds who have this,
yeah,
what they call N-word gene, and you see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yep,
yeah, this shit
yep,
crazy. They
yep, absolutely.
trying to blame us. How you gonna blame us? We
Right.
didn't go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've been pondering on that. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on that and see what I can extract, because I think, and like I said, I mean, I honestly, I get information from source. I don't. I mean, people can act like it's not valid all they want to. I really don't care. I know what comes to me, and I know what I receive. And so once I receive it, sometimes I share things, and sometimes I don't. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we intentionally cutting this short. You
All
see,
right.
it can go from here to 6 a.m. Eastern
I
time.
know. Oh my
It
gosh.
will, because there's so much to
Yeah.
cover.
Right.
And
I always say it's so much to decode. That's what we're doing.
you're
Yeah.
right. I shouldn't be
Every
saying cover, just like I use the
everything
word
is, yeah. I always say everything is code. We're here to
unveil.
decode. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure everybody enjoyed this. And while I'm
Yes.
sitting here, I want to be always a woman of my word. What's your you got a PayPal or a Cash App?
Yeah, but okay. Can I do it on here? How can I get to it?
You may be able to put it in the comments. Thank you. In
Oh, can you
any
still see me? Oh, okay. So how do I get to it? Because I'm on my phone. Okay, hold
does
on. Let me
it
just see.
does it let you add a comment? Because if you put it in the add comment or
Yeah,
post a comment, okay, great.
yeah.
Great. That
So
way everybody can see
yeah.
it on
Okay, here we go.
Fed Book or Fake Book
Copy.
and YouTube. But again, we want everybody to come over to YouTube because I don't have the issues that I have on Fedbook
Hmm.
with these videos and the restrictions and community standards or whatnot, as well as the fact that, you can, how do you say that? Super chat and all of that over here now, because we have over 4,000 subscribers now. I know that's not a lot to many of you, but after losing a channel where we had more than 7,000 subscribers and having to start all over again, like, yeah, that speaks volumes or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So for
There it is.
sure, definitely support the sister, and we're gonna make this a theme. I told her I want to run it up for her. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we
Absolutely.
can
Let's
balance
do it.
things out. It's too much masculine energy. Like when you go to what did I? Somebody did a private chat. Like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. Sorry, y'all. But again, within this, I don't even know what to call it, y'all. I'm sorry. It's like a particular culture. It's almost like
Yeah.
hip hop. We start talking about knowledge itself.
Yeah.
Most people think about, the nations of gods on earth. But when we say
Right.
knowledge itself, we're talking
Right.
about those of us who have covered Islam, Judaism, and
Right.
Christianity, and
Right.
came to the know or realizations of the fact that those three only grant you one degree of knowledge.
Yeah.
So you have 36 other chambers to climb in and out.
Right. Right.
And it's rare that I connect or am able to even just dialogue, which I should be able to dialogue with a brother who is or a sister or a brother who is a Hebrew Israelite or
Yeah.
Pan-Africanist or
Yeah.
a Christian or Islamic and so on and so
Yeah.
forth, because I've done them all. But
Yeah.
being that they've trapped themselves into that one
Yes.
chamber of knowledge,
Yes.
they
Yes.
cannot receive or
Right.
dialogue with us. So it makes these things very difficult. to say the least.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. Let's I wanna wait. I don't see where you put it in the chat.
Oh man. Dang it. Okay.
Okay, so let me go back to where it said private. Okay.
Do you see it now?
It's private, and I'm gonna copy and paste and put it in the public.
Okay.
I can. Let me do that before we leave up off the speed. Boom. Yep, I'm able to do it. So I'll go to the other one and do it again.
Okay.
And these are some of her connects. Definitely support the sister.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Find me on Facebook, and I'm on Substack. I don't know if you have the Substack one on there.
Yep, I just shared what you shared with us. Okay. And again, we definitely gonna do this quite a few more times, I think. You know what I'm saying? And get into other topics as well, not just
for sure
this particular topic concerning marriage. I mean, you know, I know you to hold other noble titles, you know, within other various I don't know if we should use the word ideologies, but why not? You see?
Yeah.
Right. And we all grew up on hip hop now.
Yes.
So it just is what it is, you know.
Yes.
Once upon a time we was
old
all
school hip hop queen.
Look, once upon a time we was all trying to rock an African medallion. Understand me. So going through the Moorish paradigm and various other ideologies, like we come to the realizations of what you see scrolling on the screen every time we come on here, which makes you the most ancient thing on the planet. Therefore, you are the autochthonous people of all of these continents.
Absolutely.
Understand?
Yep.
Absolutely. But it had to come by way of a womb on this particular plane. Maybe on another plane, or planet, if you will, some type of species that may be male predates the female, but not on this planet that we know as this rock or Gaia or Tamaray. Understand, Tamaray wasn't just talking about what y'all see as Egypt over here and over there. We're talking about this entire womb that we are all on, right?
Mother Tiamat. That's right.
Let's respect that. Maybe on Mars, what we consider to be men or males predate females, but not on this motherfucker.
Not over here. Not over here. Not on Tiamat. Nope. The Great Mother. Nope. She over there. Not over there. I mean, not over here. It's about us. It's about that womb. Yep.
So we leave you with that. We come in love because, you know, we give birth to you all. So we love you all, but we have to give you what you didn't get during
reprimanded. Yep.
During a rites of passage. You didn't have a rites of passage. So the mothers are stepping up to do a rites of passage. You men have to step up and do it too. And you don't challenge and chastise your women who are standing up to be women to take the people through a rites of passage. No, you take your ass over there on your end and you take the brothers through a rites of passage and let us do what we do.
Exactly.
Is that not fair?
It's right. Makes sense.
I digress.
Makes sense. Yep. There it is. So
we love you all.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Make sure you look for the notifications.
Yes.
And y'all had a greatest of the greatest one.
Yes.
That's the type of energy we sending out, that you have the greatest of the greatest one. The greatest energy we sending out. None of that, you know. It just is what it is.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Okay.
Peace.
Is that it? Oh. All right.
Supreme. I said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady beat, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah, unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call the third eye. We came to build, not pay your bill. Sling them in municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian cretins in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus, but you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers, non-believers, cause